Welcome again. This is the third class on acids, bases, and salts. The second chapter of your NCERT Science textbook of Class 10. Let us start today's class. First of all, we shall have the glimpse of our today's class. We shall be studying about pH. Then we shall see the importance of pH in everyday life. After that, pH of salts. And finally about chemicals produced from the common salt. In our everyday life, we have found in books that pH of acids is less than 7, pH of bases is more than 7, and neutral substance like water have pH value of 7. But have you ever wondered what actually is pH? No need to worry, we shall together find it out.
From previous classes you are aware how we compare substance as acids and bases. Yes, we use an indicator. But do you know how do we compare which acid or base is stronger? To do so we use pH. pH tells us strength of acids and bases. The range in pH scale goes from 0 to 14 and each number has a corresponding color. Calculation of pH considers the number of hydrogen ions. So in order to calculate the pH value we need to know the number of hydrogen ions. But wait, you may wonder, we know acids releases hydrogen ions but don't bases release hydroxyl or OH ion. It is true. But it is also important to note that both acids and bases release hydrogen ion, but the amount of hydrogen ion in bases is very less than the number of hydroxyl ion, so they are often neglected, but it is not that they are not present.
We need to understand that more is the hydrogen ion concentration. Lower is the pH value. And less is the hydrogen ion concentration. Greater is the pH value. Thus decreasing the pH value means increasing the strength of the acid, or greater hydrogen ion concentration. And increasing the pH value means increasing the strength of the base, or greater hydroxyl ion concentration. pH of 7 means neutral solution. After studying all this about pH, you may wonder, is pH necessary only in science laboratory for experiments and scoring marks in exams? If so, you are absolutely wrong. pH has a huge role to play for the survival of plants, animals, and even us. We shall be learning about this subsequently. Importance of pH in everyday life. pH is very much important in living organisms. Living organisms can survive only in a narrow range of pH change. Human body can tolerate pH range between 7.0 to 7.8 only. Plants also can grow in a specific pH range. Some plants can grow in acidic soil and some need basic soil. We can change the pH of the soil by using required type of substances, acidic or basic, that is lime or ash, which is basic, can be used to neutralize the acidic soil. Role of pH in a human digestive system. Our wall of the stomach releases HCl, which helps in digestion of our food. It kills the germ and activates the digestive enzyme pepsin. But during indigestion our stomach releases too much acid, which make us uncomfortable and causes stomach pain. To get relief of the pain and neutralize the action of acid, we use a mild basic solution called antacid. Role of pH in tooth decay. Tooth decay causes enamel and dentine to gradually weaken. It begins when acids are formed by bacteria acting on sugars that soften or demineralize the enamel. Bacteria in the mouth create acids after eating through the oxidation of sugar and food particles in the mouth. Tooth decay starts when the mouth's pH is below 5.5. In addition to food particles, masses of bacterial cells bind to the teeth to form dental plaque. Since plaque coats the teeth, saliva cannot reach the tooth layer to neutralize the acid. Upon eating, brushing the teeth removes the plaque before acids are formed by the bacteria. The primary focus should be on decreasing the bacterial load in the mouth if you want to prevent tooth decay. Brushing and flossing remove on the teeth, plaque, the sticky bacteria accumulation. When used with brushing and flossing, an antimicrobial mouth rinse, such as Listerine or Scope, is effective at reducing bacteria in the mouth. Role of pH in biological self-defense mechanism. Acidic substances are used by animals and plants as a self-defense mechanism. For example, bee and plants like nettle secrete a highly acidic substance for self-defense. These secreted acidic substances have a specific pH. When an ant stings, it injects formic acid in our body, which causes the burning sensation. To prevent it, we should apply base in the injected region. Nettle plants have stinging hair that injects methanoic acid in our body and causes the sensation of burning and irritation. To prevent it, we should apply base. Dock plant usually found near nettle are also a traditional method of remedy. pH of salts. Nature of salts can be acidic, basic or neutral. Formation of acidic salt. Acidic salt is formed when a strong acid reacts with a weak base. Here hydrochloric acid is a strong acid and ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. So the resultant salt, ammonium chloride, is an acidic salt. Formation of basic salt. Basic salt is formed when a weak acid reacts with a strong base. Here carbonic acid is a weak acid and sodium hydroxide is a strong base. So the resultant salt, sodium carbonate, is a basic salt. pH of salts. Neutral salt can be formed by a reaction of strong acid and strong base or weak acid and weak base. Neutral salt is formed when a strong acid reacts with a strong base. Here hydrochloric acid is a strong acid and sodium hydroxide is a strong base. So the resultant salt, sodium chloride, is a neutral salt. Neutral salt is also formed when a weak acid reacts with a weak base. Here carbonic acid is a weak acid and ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. So the resultant salt, ammonium carbonate, is a neutral salt. Chemicals from common salt. Common salt, sodium chloride, NaCl, is referred to as common salt because it's used all over the world for cooking. It is an important raw material for various materials of daily use, such as sodium hydroxide, baking soda, washing soda, bleaching powder and many more. Sodium hydroxide, also known as caustic soda, is represented by the formula NaOH. It is prepared by chloralkali process. It is prepared by passing electricity through an aqueous solution of sodium chloride brine. It decomposes to form sodium hydroxide. Chlor for chlorine and alkali for sodium hydroxide. The chemical equation represented here. In this process, chlorine gas is produced at the anode. Hydrogen gas is produced at the cathode. Along with it, sodium hydroxide is also produced. The chloralkali process is shown here. Each product of chloralkali process has various uses. Chlorine gas is used in water treatment, swimming pool, PVC, CFCs, pesticides, disinfectants. Hydrogen gas is used as fuels, margarine, and for manufacturing fertilizers. Sodium hydroxide is used in degreasing metals, soaps and detergents, paper making, artificial fibers. The chemical name of bleaching powder is calcium oxychloride. Is represented by the formula CaOCl2. It is prepared by action of Cl2 on dry slaked lime. The chemical equation is represented here. The uses of bleaching powder are: for disinfecting drinking water, for bleaching cotton and linen in textile industry, for bleaching wood pulp in paper factories. The chemical name of baking soda is sodium hydrogen carbonate. Is represented by the formula NaHCO3. It is prepared by Solvay process, reacting CO2 and NH3 with aqueous solution of sodium chloride. The chemical equation is represented here. The uses of baking soda are: for making baking powder. Baking powder is a mixture of baking soda and a milder acid like tartaric acid. The reaction releases CO2 which causes bread or cake to rise, making them soft and spongy. Other uses of baking soda are: as an antacid, chemical in soda acid fire extinguisher. The chemical name of washing soda is sodium carbonate dihydrate. Is represented by the formula Na2CO310H2O. It is prepared by Solvay process. It is prepared by heating baking soda. Recrystallization of sodium carbonate gives washing soda. The chemical equation is represented here. The uses of washing soda are: in glass, soap and paper industry, as a domestic cleaning agent, removal of permanent hardness of water. Now we shall understand a concept important for understanding many salt. It is called water of crystallization. Some salts physically seem to be dry, but in reality they contain water molecules. We shall understand this with the following activity. Take copper sulfate in a test tube. We observe that copper sulfate is blue in color. Then take a burner and light it. Then heat the test tube over the flame. We observe that water vapor evaporates from the test tube, and color of the salt changes to white. This activity shows that although the salt, copper sulfate, appeared to be dry, in reality it did contain some water molecule. The water molecules we saw in the previous activity are called water of crystallization. Its technical definition is: water of crystallization is the fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. 5 molecules of water are present in one formula unit of copper sulfate. 10 molecules of water are present in one formula unit of washing soda. As we have seen earlier, compounds that contain water of crystallization are called hydrated compound. Compounds after removing water of crystallization are called anhydrous compound. Given is a chart comparing the differences in properties of a hydrated salt and its anhydrous form. The last salt we are studying is plaster of Paris. Its chemical name is calcium sulfate hemidrate. Is represented by the formula CaSO4H2O. It is prepared by heating gypsum at 373 Kelvin, when water molecules get removed. The chemical equation is represented here. The uses of plaster of Paris are: supporting fractured bones, for making toys, decorating materials and making surfaces smooth, for making fire-resistant materials. These are some pictures showing various applications of plaster of Paris. This is end of this chapter. See you soon with the next amazing chapter. If you have missed previous classes, check the playlist here. Till then, keep studying. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and do like and share the video. Goodbye.